I expect that to be cut.
Right, so it's not.
No, they're not.
Getting Tim and his bad. Smile, Tim.
Paid it all back.
But look.
What did he?
Can I trust you?
This is not too hot.
I noticed there were 16 plates there.
What an impression they make.
She is. But now, I cringe. I don't even want to watch the bar.
There they are, waiting on the kids. That's the one that's worried about being renovated.
It's been here for 1800.
Did he do well or not?
Oh boy.
Either that or they're gonna hire you. I thought he was gonna rear end you with the puppies.
Little history on Newnan, please. How big a town?
Dishes, we've got some in the kitchen. You're welcome to. If I can find any dishwashers, send them. This is in there. This is the bridal suite on this side. That little room in the end hall is the birthing room. And Dr. St. John used to deliver babies out.
Now there's the level of cottage here. I'll see what I want to say.
Have a seat. Cheers right behind you.
I've only got two left. I had to take one down. In the fall, you can see how the trees are all lined up. I got the time every other year. I don't get them every year. But most of the time, it's not materials, and I store them until I figure out what to do with them, and I bought a bunch of ceiling tiles and didn't have enough to do the ballroom ceiling.
The wood inside is just gorgeous.
All the way down Jackson Street, all the way Temple Avenue here, has always been owned by the city and set out. It was laid out in 1820s to be used for educational purposes. And after this building was moved, they built the old Newnan High School on top of the hill here, and then next to it was, in the 1880s, they built Temple Avenue Elementary School.
They're way
Old wax.
Just in case.
Come to the shade. Well, you got the only shade. What will they do with it now? What will they do with it?
She's still alive.
Same thing, I think it's the second one.
There must be one or two gentlemen here. So I include you. The fun part is over with. Now you have to sit here and not go to sleep while we try and give you a nice program of what's going on in the Gladney family. First of all, as a tradition, we stand up and introduce ourselves. Now I know that's embarrassing for you, but it doesn't embarrass me. So I'd like, please, to Mr. Kirkpatrick in the back to stand up, Ms. Martin, and introduce yourself as you come up that table. Will you do that for me? Tell us where you are from. Please.
Ken Kirkpatrick, Samuel Gladney, Columbia, South Carolina. My better half is Martha Eastburn from Columbia, South Carolina. And we are, like I say, from Columbia. It's 35 miles from Winsboro. Been in South Carolina all my life, and love my new family. So.
Thank you, Ken. Don? All right, Peter.
I'm Charlie Gladney, Foley, Missouri. Let's go.
Quick and sweet.
Yeah, just stand up. I'm Charlie's daughter, Terry, and this is my husband, Gene. We're from Kirksville, Missouri. Richard Gladney, who we go back to, Kirk.
Thank you. And Wallace, the other Wallace, the first Wallace.
I'm the real Wally. He's the big one. And this is Dean, my wife. We're from Lexington, Kentucky, originally from Alabama. And we have 3 daughters, and they've been here from time to time, but got little kids now and don't come. So we've been coming, I think it was 1977.
Yeah.
I was looking at
That's
that.
year 2.
We had a minutes of a meeting. It was 77 when we formed the corporation.
Right.
But we haven't been every year. Cecil had, I think, for 25 years. But
Yeah, we enjoyed Cecil something. That was good. Corky, you introduce your family,
Okay,
please.
I'm Corky Brown. I'm from Otto, North Carolina, originally from Tampa. This is my wife, Irma, and my granddaughter, Hannah, and my daughter, Becky. And we're glad to be here. This is our first time, and hope to come many more times.
I had the pleasure of eating with him today at lunch. It was a nice, enjoyable conversation. Thank you very much. Jamie?
I'm Sid Suggs, his wife Faye. We're from Athens, Alabama. What else we need to know, but we have enjoyed this. We found out about it a few years ago, and it's been a pleasure. We're from, our family's from Samuel, and my granddaddy was from Roanoke, Alabama, and they were prolific like the rest of these families were, I think. My mother was a Gladney.
Thank you, Sid. All right, Daddy. Look at it, watch him get up there.
Y'all wonder why I look like I do. I had an encounter with some bees Wednesday night, and I spent an hour and a half in the emergency room with 2 nurses picking bee stings out of my face and neck and throat. And I was lucky to be alive.
And who saved your life?
Yeah.
Your wife?
Well, my life was saved by then, but
Yeah.
I told them I was the toughest 86-year-old man they'd ever had in there, and they agreed.
Now, where you from? Tell them where you're from.
I'm Dudley Meadows, John Dudley Meadows from Longview, Texas, and that's my wife, Maddie. She and I have been married, be 3 years in November. My first wife, after 60 years, she expired, and I sat around as a hermit for 2 years, and I met this sweet young thing, and we got married. We haven't had a good knockdown, dragged out yet, but from the looks of my face, I can say I did. Be lying. But my sister, Dolores Lomax, usually makes these, and she told me to tell all of you hello, that she's sorry she couldn't make it. She's not up to traveling now. And this is my, I don't know, I was talking to Dan's wife about one time she was, well, I was at a Gladney reunion, and she was talking about her 16-year-old daughter was learning how to drive, and she was really sweating her out. And I asked her about it, and she said, she's 40 now.
Okay, sit down.
Thank you. Come on down here. Let's go back around.
I'm Larry Ivins.
Got wearing gown?
I'm now from Smyrna,
Yeah, wearing
Georgia,
gown.
from Michigan. My parents, Virginia Ivins and Reed Ivins, and they are from Maryville, and we are from the Samuel line. You want to say anything?
Sue?
I'm Sue Haney from Calhoun, Georgia. My father was Hoyt Gladney, and he grew up in Carrollton.
And I'm Elaine Lane from Dallas, Georgia, and my dad was Sue's brother, T.J. Gladney, and he grew up in Carrollton.
I'm Tony Adams. I'm from Franklin, Georgia, just next door. From the Samuel line through his son Thomas and his son John, moved here to the Carroll County area in the 1860s.
How was that lovely lady down there?
I'm Judy Gladney, Dan's wife, and Dudley. Now I have Mitchell, the Pam's 15-year-old, driving us around today, so it's still nerve-wracking.
I'm Sue Gladney Lofton. This is my husband Bill. We live in Newnan, and I'm from the Samuel Gladney.
Thank you. Glad to have you the first time too, huh? Sue, first time?
No, I was secretary of this organization at one time. It's been a long time since we've been.
The first time. Okay. Is that right, lady? First time?
No, it's not the first time, but it's the first time in a very, very long time.
Okay.
My parents were Milton and Lois Gladney, and I believe I went to Winsboro the second time it was held there.
Wow.
But I'm active as I should be, and I'll try to be more active. I live here in Newnan. Proud to have y'all here. We're from the Richard Gladney.
Right.
And I'm the better looking brother.
Right.
John Gladney, that was my wife Carol's sitting back there, and we from Talking Rock, Georgia, and we are the Richard line.
Ah, right. Thank you very much. Hi, Timmy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Jimmy Newman.
I can't hear you.
Kathy's my
I
wife.
can't hear you.
Hello.
Timmy.
Yeah, Jimmy Newman.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Right.
I know that.
Right. I'm Kathy's husband. She's the Gladney, but I'm the video guy.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Kevin Veach, and this is my wife Jessica. I'm originally from Newnan, but we reside now in Huntsville, Alabama, and found out I got some relatives right out the way now. But this is the first time I've been in Newnan, right, Mark? It's good to have you. Well, do better next time.
Okay.
I'm Gail Gladney Smith, and I've been told I'm from Thomas Gladney's family. This is my mother, Lucille Gladney, my husband, Don, and the Gladneys have a wonderful trait. We managed to find wonderful people to marry, and then they adopt our family, and they become Gladneys too.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm Tim Johnson. This is my daughter Tracy, my sons Timmy and Trent, and one of my best friends in the world, Ray Hunt. He's from Leesburg, Alabama. We're from Stanford, Kentucky.
Thank you. We had a few first time. That's good.
Who are you?
Who am I? My name is Jose Jimenez. I'm from Echo. Vámonos de Desafío Frío. I know my political man a little bit.
What'd you say?
Okay, I'm Wally Gladney. This is my last 30 minutes of being president of this wonderful club and foundation and cemetery. And after a while, I'm going to introduce a new president, Catherine Newman, to you, but not yet. Okay. I want to talk about what the Gladneys were faced with, the Gladneys in Northern Ireland were faced with at the time. We know they kind of came over from Scotland, but the king wanted them to come kick the hell out of the Catholics in Ireland. That didn't work out after 100 years. They always started, the Catholics and the Protestants. Didn't have any food, had famine. Well, here in America, South Carolina Assembly passed an act that offered 100 acres to anyone who come over and homestead. All they had to do was cut at least 10% of the timber every year and pay a bounty for that property, and they could just keep it forever. Well, that's what the Gladney boys did, and the mother. Well, we had Richard and Thomas come over. We're not sure when they came, but they obviously came after 1761 because they went in and signed up for their 100 acres. In 1768, the widow Gladney came over, because that's recorded on a James and Ann ship. His mother came into Charleston Harbor, and their names on the manifest. But also, interesting enough, was a daughter named Mary. So you had Samuel and Joseph come over. Hello. Okay. Samuel and Joseph came over after Richard and his brother Thomas, maybe 4 or 5 years later. And they brought their mother, the widow Gladney, and the sister, who was, if I remember this, Samuel was like 30 at the time, and Mary was like 27, and the little Joseph was 21. He was a baby. So by 1771, they all had their lands. And their lands were where you're familiar with, outside of Winsboro. Okay. Kind of close to where the Gladney Cemetery is, but not quite. Maybe 2 to 3 miles from there. They got their 100 acres. And they touched on a family called Strong, S-T-R-O-N-G. Richard married a Strong daughter, Jane Strong. And last year, when I was talking to you, I had just come back from a place north of Winsboro where they had a battle with the English and the revolutionaries, and they were after the Captain Hook, H-U-C-K, the Englishman, who killed one of the strong children right there at the old church by Jackson Creek, where the Gladneys and the Strongs and McMasters were. They all had their acres touching each other. And they drug this boy out and couldn't find the preacher who was preaching revolution. The two preachers there in the church. And so the English couldn't find them, got married, and they killed this boy, 14, 15 years old. Well, that captain who ordered that, he got crossed with the people up there north of Winsboro. And they went up there one morning before he got his clothes on. He killed them all. They just raided that campsite, the revolutionary people did. So that's the story I told you last year. I just come from that place up there. But this year I'm talking about what we were faced with the Gladney in 1771, 1772. Most of the people in Ireland already learned how to grow flax and different things. They didn't know about corn, of course, the Indians taught. But what I'm telling you now is in this book, this nice big book, in the front part of it is a history of what I'm saying. So it'd be nice when you get home, even if you don't have one, look in your red book. If you don't have a red book, find a Gladney who has it. The libraries are full of these books we give them. Every library in the country nowadays has an archive for ancestry. I mean, the one in Utah for the Mormons, we got that in Baton Rouge. We got everything they have in Utah, Salt Lake City, in Baton Rouge. Not just for the Normans, for all of them. So somewhere else in Georgia, you got the same kind of stuff on computers. Go in there and look up the Gladney, all this kind of stuff. So tracking your ancestors, to me, is a lot of fun. Now you come to dead ends sometime, you have no idea. And sure enough, you're talking to somebody, he's got a wing of a Gladney, he wants to put that on the tree. And bang, it fits right in place. That's kind of what we do here. When we talk about where you're from and who you are, what your parents are. That's good stuff. These 33,000 names in here, of course, very few of them are living. Well, this is only, I don't know, say a tenth of what's in here, maybe an eighth. This is 1966, and that itself is a story for us. Okay, but when the Gladneys got here, it was tough. But they had already been tough by not having food over there. So they quickly learned how to survive. And they survived by making friends with their neighbors. They kind of knew who their neighbors were. Well, the Strongs and the Gladneys had known each other in Ireland, Northern Ireland. In fact, Samuel got married there in Northern Ireland, the oldest boy. So it didn't mention his wife that he brought with him on that ship, but he undoubtedly did. Those are good, nice things to know. You know. So when you go out to the cemetery in 2 years, we're going to be back up in Winsboro after Baton Rouge. Maybe by then you absorb some of this and realize, hey, I got pretty strong roots up here in South Carolina. I'm proud of that, and we all should be. It's good stuff. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the corporation itself and this red book. The corporation came after this red book. Now, Mildred Arnold, a Gladney, who lived at Kennesaw and Marietta, basically, and her husband, Tom Arnold. She corresponded with so many people over, let's say, 25 years. And she knew my grandparents, and my dad took my grandparents' Bible to her. And they kept it and recorded all those things. Finally, after years tediously of checking, rechecking, in 1966, they published this wonderful book. It has stories in it also. But it's not elaborate. This is elaborate, especially the first 4 or 5 generations. We pretty well have documented that really good. So these books are available. I'm not selling books, but they're available from this company that made it for us, Higgins in Massachusetts. One book costs about $150. That's a lot of money. We got these for $25 or $30. Where's the trouble? Jay Wallace?
25.
25. Going once, going twice. These are wonderful. Now, hey, the generations in here, today's generation not here. My children are here, but they're 50 years old. 45. My grandchildren, of course, are not here because 1966 is when this is published. Okay, so the first original Wally Gladney has some red books. This is all I have here, but anybody want that, we'll put $25 in the cash register for you. Okay, so Cecil, it was here, and Wally, Charles Sidney. I'm looking for anybody else that was originally, you almost made it. The originators, I guess, of the Gladney Foundation, Gladney Cemetery Corporation, which came not in 1966 when this book was published, but this made the Gladneys find each other and call each other and let's go have a meeting, let's find out who you are, and let's go find that cemetery. And everybody says it's there, somewhere around Winsboro.
When was your first reunion?
My first reunion? 1976. And then we had an officer in 1977. It was different from then, and they got to be a corporation January 1977.
That's a long time.
Descendants of Richard and James Gladney is the name of our corporation. And so from that little acorn, we've got lots of big oak trees. Lots of big oak trees. And it's fun. I enjoy it. Always have been. It's so much fun that I've met quite a few genealogists, some of which are in Georgia, with the dames. Colonial dames precede with Gladney. We didn't get here 1760s. We're talking about before the Revolutionary War. But to be a dame or whatever, you had to be an elected official. I don't know if any Gladney has ever been elected. I don't think any Gladney has ever run for office. There may be some somewhere, but most of them are farmers or bankers or doctors or lawyers or whatever. Hard-working people are not politicians. That's good for us. You know. So, anyway, you can't hear, huh? Anyway, my chain of thought disagree with when I drop this on my board.
We have a lot of preachers,
I'm sorry,
teachers.
what? Question?
We have a lot of preachers, we have teachers.
Well, yeah, preachers and teachers, for sure. They kind of teach each other, I think. Yes?
I can tell you about one Gladney that was a politician.
Oh.
Roy Gladney. Roy.
Yeah.
In Mulberry, Florida. He was county commissioner for 27, 28 years, something like that.
That was, Lemuel was his grandfather.
Yeah.
And his dad was named John.
His dad was, yes.
John.
That's right.
John and my grandfather were brothers.
Oh.
We visited them one time.
Did you really?
Well, good.
There was a Gladney in Louisiana that was a clerk of court, a lady. I don't know if she was a Gladney by.
Well, we had Judge Gladney up in Shreveport and Monroe, and he came from New Orleans. Edward Lee Gladney, he was federal judge at the end. Yeah.
We had a reunion there in Monroe one time.
Yes, you did. And that's where I was born, Monroe, Louisiana. Okay. Now, We have some nice news for you. We have a nice new president and a nice new board member. So Cecil, why don't you introduce your daughter as our new board member, please? Please.
Charles
Here,
Sidney.
please.
Charles Sidney.
Charles Sidney, excuse me, Charles Sidney. Introduce your daughter to all of us again. Come on, I know you're proud of her, I'm proud of her.
This is my daughter Terry.
Burton.
And
Terry is our new board member for 3 years here, starting an hour ago.
Must have been 45,
You're on the clock.
50 years
You're on the clock.
Met Monroe.
Okay. And the best of all, we have a brand new president, Cassie Newnan, and she's going to be assigned for this group of people for 2 years. Yes, ma'am. Now I want you to come up here and say a wonderful welcoming speech and how much you enjoy being the president, how much it pays and everything.
Kathy Newman.
It's all yours.
Kathy Newman.
She's the new president.
Nobody can replace Wally. Ever, 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 ever. There's a local story about Chief William McIntosh. He lived just across the river in Whitesburg. He had a plantation there, and he was the chief of the Coweta Indians. And this book was written by his granddaughter. Her name is Billie Jane McIntosh, and she is the daughter of Chief William McIntosh's son, Chillicothe. So I want to give this story to Wally to add to his collection.
Oh, good. You'll probably hear this next year.
And this is a story of how Coweta came to be, Coweta County.
Okay, good. That's nice. I'm proud of that.
And something I want to add too, we want to thank Tim, and he and his wife put together this big blue book for the Gladney. And we love you and we appreciate it. And we're glad you all could come to Newnan this year, and we look forward to next year where Wally will host in Baton Rouge.
Right. It probably won't be the last July weekend. It's going to be something other than last July. I got instructions from my family. We've got a lot of Gladneys in Baton Rouge that want to help. And the 2 reunions we've had, they've come and served. And I'm talking about grandkids and kids and friends. Okay, they're all glad. So we got a plethora of help, plethora of good food. The hotels are way too expensive. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But maybe.
Didn't you just expand your house?
So we'll find places. I'm looking for 100 people to come to Baton Rouge.
Not going to Winsboro?
Yes, 2 years.
Oh, 2 years from now it'll be in Baton Rouge.
1 year, Baton Rouge, 2 years, Winsboro. You can come there in Winsboro, or you can get in an airplane flight with Baton Rouge.
No, we'll drive.
Okay. You don't fly no more, huh?
Well, next year at Baton Rouge.
Not if he's gonna pay for it, no.
Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge.
Red stick.
Boys, I hope they got that runway longer than it used to be. Man, they land there in Ryan's Field, get that nose gear on the ground and reverse those props, boy, fighting. That's the name of it, wasn't it, Ryan Field? Yeah, I remember landing C-124 there.
You gotta put all 4 of those in reverse. Okay, these proceedings are not quite close.
We're going to have a short devotional in this room tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and then everybody can head out to breakfast.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I got a joke to tell.
Tomorrow morning, breakfast.
Tomorrow at breakfast.
Got you, David. Thank y'all so much. It's a pleasure let's stay around here and talk and tell lies to each other. And embellish all these stories, that's what I want to hear. Thank you.
Oh, you've got the stamp.
I do, outside. I got a lot of stuff for you. The original corporate paper, all that stuff. You'll get that in the morning, how about that? Unless you want to go around and stamp it, people.
No,
Okay.
you said you were bringing it.
Let's give Wally and Kathy both a big.
We're adjourned. That's okay. I bought me one too.
I'm gonna read while I'm driving.
So you can give me a synopsis of it.
Tim Johnson. Good too. Your sister.